Back again for another video. Today's topic, today's discussion on the menu will be builders. What do they look like? How do they operate? What's their importance, etc. I'll cover a range of things in regards to builders, but the preface. Now, this society has been built up by men, so much so to the point where no one can decide what needs to be built past what we've already built. We have infrastructure from cars to trains to roads to airplanes to buses to everything. We have social infrastructure, we have physical infrastructure, we have financial infrastructure, and these things are mostly built by men and maintained by men. But I want to talk more specifically, as usual, in regards to builders. What are their jobs? Well, they're meant to build, of course, but they need certain things depending on their speciality in regards to their building abilities. The things someone who is a builder in regards to carpentry are different from the things someone who is a masonry engineer would need in regards to what their job is. There are two different sets of materials that are not the same, but both of these individuals are builders. Now to get to the meat of the topic. Most men are builders, but we require specific material in order to build what we see fit. In regards to communities, women are our materials. Now, a lot of people would say, you shouldn't look at women so objectively. I totally disagree. They were put here for a specific reason. All these other things that they do in regards to their jobs, their education, and all this other stuff. None of that stuff is really the meaning of their existence. Sure, there are some women who excel in some of the things that they do, but the vast majority of women are not happy. They're not compatible, and they're not meant for the type of things that they do. They would be more suitable being man's material to build a community. Now, that's not to say that just because I use a hammer for masonry doesn't mean that I can't use a hammer for carpentry. Sure, they may be two different hammers in some regards, depending on what you use, but they can be interchangeable to these two different types of builders. And this is somewhat the same as women. Women are very interchangeable in the type of things that you can use them to build from or build with. Their structures that you can build behind these women can be very differently, even though you're using the same material. Women seem to think that their purpose is much bigger than what it is. It is in some regards, but not the way that they see it. The way that they see things is very broad. They can be everything and anything all at once, but in reality, they are only just one thing, and they will remain that one thing, and that is women. That's not to say that a woman doesn't have any type of diversity to her in regards to what her abilities are, but it will always be done from the lens of a woman's frame. It will always be done from the frame of a feminine frame. No matter how much a woman bulks up, no matter how much she takes steroids or do all these other things, and how much education, none of that stuff changes the fact and the purpose of what her existence is. Her existence is meant to be built with. Now, the certain type of man who requires a certain type of woman is all specific on what the intention, the outcome of what is to be built. For instance, me personally, I can't do anything with a woman who won't submit. Other men may be able to, because that type of material I'm not suited for in regards to what I plan on building and what I have been building and what I have built in the past. I can never build anything with a non-submissive woman, so I know that that's not for me. Now, there are some men who are able to take these women and do other things with them and build things with them, but it's just not me. We're two different types of builders once again. But for the vast majority of men out here, we ask for, we require, we seek submission, not because we want to make women slaves or we want to mistreat them, but because it is very necessary as the material that we need in order to build with these women. Women don't generally understand that, which is really strange. Maybe I think too abstract. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it, but it seems very common sense to me. Nonetheless, they don't come to the same conclusions that men do. I was actually talking to my submissive. Again, we have a lot of conversations, by the way, but I was talking to her in regards to what is a woman's purpose. And I don't think necessarily that she even understood. It's kind of hard having these conversations with women who don't think about these things. It's almost like trying to explain to the horse why they're necessary for a horse race. They don't understand that. All they know is that they run and they get something to eat after. I'm not saying that women are not good at critical thinking, but a certain level of conscious existence has to be attained through experience. And if these women have not experienced that level of consciousness, how could one ever expect them to understand that level of consciousness, is what I'm saying. But nonetheless, I had this conversation with her about the importance and the place of women. And I told her why I require the things that I do. I told her why these things are important. Because if you give me a shitty product, you give me shitty material, I'm going to give you a shitty structure. That's how this works. I cannot create something that is more grander than the material that I am using in its composition. Now, sure, I can take a tree and I can turn it into a nice wooden box, but I am not changing the composition of the material that I'm using. When I build something, I have a output. I have a specific output. I have a certain intention. And depending on the material that I get, so does the woman. I tell my submissives, like, hey, this is what I plan on doing with you. I need your cooperation and I need your understanding and what is required of you. And I need the duty from you. I need these things. These are the materials that I need from you in order to build this outcome. Now, at any point in time, these women do not give me that material in its exact form or in the quantities that I need it. When I start to create and I come with a finished product, it looks nothing like what I intended or what they expected. Now, us as men, we are held to a high level of accountability. When things don't come out as planned, we often get blamed for these things. But there is a component of this that is the woman's responsibility. The only time that a man is solely responsible for the direction and the outcome of anything that he intends to build is if the woman met all the requirements as specified. At any point, this woman does not create herself into the material necessary in order to build the outcome that is intended. She then holds some liability to this. This is the level of accountability that we need to have with the women that we intend to build with, is that if they do not follow to a T what we require, what we have in mind, then they have to take some accountability as to the outcome not being specifically as it was stated before in the blueprints. This is the importance of having the proper material, because we understand that there are certain materials that degrade over time, or there are certain materials that change their properties given a certain atmosphere, temperature, or environment. When we don't account for these things as men, then we hold the responsibility. But if we measure everything correctly according to how we understand, let's say something like steel works, and we keep it away from water so that it does not rust or decay, and we make sure that it's nice and lubed up, and that we then start to create. If the outcome is not what we intended it to be, then it is solely upon us, because the property of steel did not change throughout the process from beginning to end. But at any point in time that you're dealing with a substance, that you're dealing with a form of matter per se, a type of resource, and it changes on you in the middle, how can one expect to have the end product be as specified as it was before that product changed? I think women need to understand this. This isn't rocket science to me, but it may be for other people, but that's why I'm here. Is that the cooperation that we need from our women is only going to produce what we say it's going to produce. At any point in time, the women do not cooperate with what the men see fit, they can't complain about the outcome, the finished product. Because we as builders, we know exactly what we need, what quantities we need it in, and how we're going to produce this, and how long it even may take. But if any of the things that anything changes in the material composition, then we are not responsible for the structure that you get as a result. But anyways, like, comment, and share. Catch me on Facebook. This has been The Wolf in Bated Clothes. May you have a good day, and peace be with you.